Yes, good evening. Welcome to the Manchester United Agenda in a dual podcast with Early Doors Football TV, if I've said that correctly. And England, unstoppable. Southgate's Army march on to another semi-final. And I'm delighted to be joined by Early Doors TV and Anthony. I'll start off with you, Early Doors. How are you? How's your day been? Where did you watch the match?
Been indoors watching the game, and the day's been okay, apart from the weather, which is fluctuated between rain, wind, sunshine, wind, rain. It's been bloody awful in that respects. And then, of course, I had to watch this shower of as well, and just see us get through lucky enough on penalties. Thanks for inviting me on, as always. It's good to be on the channel.
It's our pleasure. We love having both of you on, but we like having Anthony on less so. Anthony, how are you this evening?
I'm not too bad. Battling. We had a little bit of rain earlier, but as you can see, the sun shining, glistening behind me there, behind my. I was going to say back doors, but that's going to be that's outside my French doors, I should say. Sorry, and yeah, I mean, been good. Watched the game, and it was okay. Let's just say that.
Yeah, you're not overly enthused with the performance, either of you.
No. I'm not overly. Don't get me wrong. I know he changed the formation. He changed the team half time. When I was watching the game from the start, I noticed a difference within the first 25 minutes of the first half. We come more. We're more attacking, more chances on goal, more passing. The shots on goal was. It was more within those 25 minutes than what we've had in most throughout the 90 minutes in the last lot of games, to be honest with you. But I mean, going that goal down, that was like in the 70, I think it was the 72nd minute or something like that. But I thought, oh bloody hell, this is it now. And then Arsenal player Saka comes up, equalises. I felt he had a good game. Harry Kane for me was burnt out. Didn't hardly do anything in this game at all. Again, I mean, how many games are you actually going to play him in this year? I know. Don't get me wrong. I know everybody loves Harry Kane, and he's a starter. But to me, I just don't know. I don't know about Harry Kane anymore. Internationally, I think he's lost it a bit. Personally, I think he's he's lost a yard of pace. His all-round performance and his play has been affected. But I suppose, when he plays for Bayern Munich, yeah, I suppose he is good there. But international-wise, I can't see it.
All right. Well, just before we get to you, Early Doors, I'm going to say hello to these little gremlins that come into our chat. First off, we got Henry Ray Baker. He's saying, howdy, Tony. Piss poor England just getting through. We are so lucky that Trent ends it. Andrew, a Welshman, scruffy game. Pleased for England. Saka, the key man for them today. They should drop Kane. He's doing bugger all for them.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. And we've got the usual suspect. Awful game to watch.
Yeah.
Come on, you Irons, is what he's saying there. I'm not saying
absolutely.
Always felt that England would at least make the semis. Defence wins tournaments. The best two defences in the tournament are France and England. Well, we'll come to England's defence. Well, not to their defence, but to their defenders a bit later. In particular, I'm interested what you thought about Stones today. Oh no, an Arsenal person, Arsenal maniacs. How are you? We got away again. Another game. We were second best. However, the Pens were faultless.
Yeah, for a change. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we got Matty Bassett in the house. Oh, God, not this guy. It's Bart. Bellingham, knowing that he wasn't getting subbed off without looking at the board, reinforces the idea Southgate pre-plans his subs before a ball has been kicked rather than working on the game. True. That's a great comment, Bart. Well done. Anthony, do you have any thoughts on that Southgate isn't reacting to the game? He just has kind of different plans for it.
Well, I suppose he has his different plans for it, but in all fairness, I'll be honest with you, Batside, I'm not a Southgate kind of guy. I'm not happy with him. I think there was a mistake on the board when they put up the number 10, Jude Bellingham's number, and he's going me, and it was like you could tell he wasn't happy. He was surprised. He was like, "Oh, nah, ain't me. No, you don't want me off." And then obviously, that's what happened. The right substitution was obviously made. But I mean, just imagine if that was the substitution with Jude Bellingham coming off. I think there would have been a few. How can I say, sort of angry people maybe, or shocked and confused people as well. If you want to put that in there, I don't think Jude Bellingham. I don't think he was rubbish. I don't think he was brilliant. I just thought he was sort of average. That is all I can give the team. And that's including Saka, even though he got our goal. It was just an average performance by England. But I'll be honest with you, as the competition goes on, games get harder. I know we've had like an easy run of games, but let's be honest with you, you can't for this year you can't take anything away from the Switzerland team. I mean, they knocked out Italy 2-0. So it's like what I said, as I said it before I come here. I actually predicted this game is going to be a draw, and England will win on penalties, and we've done that. Depending, obviously, I can't remember who we got now in the next in this in the
It'll be the Turks or Holland.
Or Holland, right? So obviously, my favourites for there would be Netherlands, Holland. So when we play against them, we're coming up against a good team here. I mean, the pace, the skill they've got, they've got a high, an eye for goal. So we've got to be on our best form against the Netherlands. If not, we'll definitely go out, because their attacking play is quite good at the at Netherlands. So.
Well, I hope that answers your question, Bart. We got DK Wilson bigging everyone up. Henry is saying that his tea is more enjoyable than England. I would hope so.
I had a Chinese. It was quite nice, actually. I was enjoying my tea more than the game.
Yeah? Did you order at half-time?
Yes, I ordered at half-time, yeah. Sweet chili chicken. What else was it? A special chow mein. There was what's the other one? Spring rolls and curry, not curry sauce, sweet chili sauce. So that done me, so that was really nice. And a few cans of beer, obviously.
All right. Well, you're watching the Manchester United agenda, where you can keep up with this engaging and riotously interesting content on what Anthony has for his team. All right. Look, I'm just going to say hello to some people before we get into it. We've got Wolfgang Division.
Wolfie.
I hope you're doing well. We've got a guy called Pepsi Pack.
Pepsi Pack. Yep.
We've got Lawrence Watkins.
Big up, Lawrence.
Well, that's fantastic. Is that he's a military man, and he's from Kentucky who supports West Ham. Oh, that's brilliant. It's a global game, isn't it?
Absolutely.
We've got Game Killer, he's just saying hello to you.
Big up, Game Killer.
We've got History with Mo, my friend Mo. We have Vincent Bullock. And is there anyone else? Yes. We've got Wurzel Hermit.
Hey, Gus.
This is a guy that we know. This is a guy that we know and does everything. I'm waiting for Early Doors' ones to come on. If he's going to do it, if he's going to come on.
Oh, that's one of the best trolls I think I've seen. We've got Bilal. Wurzel Hermit. All right.
It's quality. It's quality.
All right, so I think what I want to start off is, like, Anthony, you were talking a little bit about Saka. You thought he had an average game. From what I saw, I thought Saka was absolutely magnificent today. I thought his defensive duties, extra time as a sort of left wing back, looking after that Vidmar, I thought he made 2 fantastic blocks. He obviously scored the goal. He created pretty much everything in the first half. I'm surprised that you didn't think he was like a standout player that performed at his top level today.
Yeah, I mean, everything you said was right, because I actually said that through the game as well. And for me, he was the best player for England on the pitch. So we can agree on that sort of thing. But I just felt like it just wasn't the stuff that he done, which obviously he was brilliant at, because as far as I'm concerned, that should have been Trippier's position. actually trying to defend that ball, but it took Saka to come back to get it. So, in all fairness, he did do a job there, and he did do it well. But I'm really keen on players when they play in their positions, and it's not just about sticking with your play. It's about, to me, is zonal marking as well. Stay in your zone. If you're left back, that's your area. Your centre back, your middle of the pitch, that's your area. Same as the right. Even though you'd like to mark players, obviously when it's thrown, you get that. Basic footballs, basic tactics. But get back into your defending area, because if you don't, we're going to get punished. And if it wasn't for Saka, yeah, we may have got punished. There was chances that I felt that we could have lost the game. I mean, Switzerland were a threat in our 18-yard box as well. So there was that. But listen, I'm going to say the reason why I said we were average, it just wasn't Saka. It was everybody else on the pitch. But Saka was the one that did his job, and he did it correctly. He was the best player for us. So if I was to give him a rating, you may have changed my mind now, back time. So I would have to most probably give Saka. I couldn't give him any more than a 7.
But that's above average.
That's above average, yeah. I said they were average. I think average for me is a 5 or a 6. But now, looking back on it, yeah, I can most probably give him a 7. But he won't get any higher than a 7 for me.
All right. Well, early doors. What I would like to know from you is 2 things, really. First is what you thought of the change in tactics and the personnel. And as a West Ham fan, what has Jared Bowen done to fall so far down the pecking order behind Saka and Cole, despite, I think, doing really well and helping see out games in the group stages?
Going back on to the beginning, we knew we needed to see big changes, but the only thing that he did was make one substitution. So we knew there was going to be a one-change game, as always. We've seen with Southgate. The formation, I agree with Anthony, it did work. We pressed more in the first, 25 minutes into the game, but then Switzerland got into started getting into it, and at some point they actually scored us. If it wasn't for their poor efforts in front of goal, then really they should have been 2-0 up. To get the goal that they did, if you look at it, it was quite fortunate that Stones kind of, he just kind of kicked it with his foot and it went into the path of Mbolo for him to put it past the Pickford. But then obviously the goal that we equalised with, great goal by Saka. You can't fault that side of things. It was quite interesting to see that the former Arsenal player Xhaka just sticking his leg out, poorly trying to defend, and we equalised. But going on the second part, when you're saying about with Bowen, the kid's done nothing wrong. I mean, fun enough, someone's asked a question there about, why did he hook off Kobe Mainoo? Because he was having a good game. There was no reason to take him off. Everyone could see that Kane was blown out of his backside. That's where your change needed to happen. But to stick with him. But Bowen, I don't know. It's just, as you said, he had a great first appearance when he came on. And obviously, we nearly scored from that when he delivered the ball in the box for Kane to header it. But other than that, I don't know.
Do you think it might be to protect leads as opposed to score goals?
I don't know. Maybe it's a case of, when you look at it, between Palmer, Saka, and Bowen, they've all been in double figures for the season, scoring goals. So you can't say it's anything to do in that respects. Is it the case of maybe he's looking at the clubs that they're belonging to? Maybe he's protecting that kind of status, which I think that's probably more likely the case because we're only West Ham at the end of the day. Could be that.
All right. Well, we'll do some comments, and then I think I want to talk about the first goal that was scored by the Swiss. Andrew sent Saka man of the match. Mainoo great whilst on. I think definitely. I agree with that.
Yeah.
DK Wilson is saying Kobe Mainoo, for all he was allowed to do, he really should be the player controlling the back to front transitions rather than right. I don't know about that. Was excellent. Even though we won, still don't get why he took off Kobe. And hello, DN Vlogs. And Henry is saying, Kane is captain Southie. Ain't taking off his captain, lol. He did. And Foden is just average for England, but with City being paid to play. All right. We'll talk about Foden as well. We have Steph saying Southgate's inability to make quicker substitutions and release the handbrake will eventually cost us. Got to learn from that. But an England-France final incoming. And it's Guna Matata.
Big up Guna Matata.
Yeah, I hope you're doing well. And true to form, he's saying that Kane was bloody shocking. All right, so I think that right, we'll start off with the first goal that the Swiss scored. That was shocking. That was shocking from John Stones, in my opinion. That was a terrible way to kind of address a cross. Looked really basic to me. How Anthony, did you feel that Stones, Konsa, Walker? How did that defence get on in a 3-back?
Do you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Last time, the back, it reminded me back in Euro '96, our very first game when we drew 1-1 with Switzerland. If you remember that, Shearer getting our goal. So I think that was obviously a 3-5-2 formation back then, but still, I mean, Stones, it's what you said is basic. It was an error, but I keep saying now, this is when we take our feet off the accelerator. To be honest with you, we're not thinking. We're getting too carried away. The balls aren't being passed around quick enough. We need a constant fluid of football. We're not getting the ball forward enough. It feels like something there in that middle, whether it's Harry Kane or Foden. I still don't think that combination is working. I still don't. We have. It's not like a fluent type of attacking football, if you like. We've got to pass it side, and we're passing it left, we're passing it right. Then sort of like we're passing it in the angles in the middle of the pitch, sort of thing. So, I feel we're poor there in attack. But going back to the Switzerland goal, it was absolutely poor and basic. But listen, you can't fault Switzerland for that goal, because if you actually look at the build-up just before the goal, it wasn't a bad start of play of what they were doing. They were countering, they were passing the ball. And I got to be honest with you, even though Switzerland's out, but I mean, Granit Xhaka, I'm not being biased here because he's an ex-Arsenal player of mine.
He was very good.
He was very good. And he's had a fantastic Euros. So, I mean, fair shout to them. I mean, fair shout to Switzerland getting this far. I mean, obviously they weren't going to win it, but, fair play to them. But yeah, like you said, back I wasn't happy with Stones. It was a real bad defensive error on his behalf.
Okay, early doors, like the Embolo gentleman for the Swiss seemed to cause a lot of problems with his hold-up play. Like attached himself to Konsa, I noticed. He was looking at Konsa. What did you think? What do you think this is like, new formation, how the defence played? Were they moving it up the pitch quick enough? What's going on?
The formation, it was needed. We needed to have a change of formation because the previous three wasn't working at all. I don't think we played it out quick enough sometimes. We did differ a little bit on the ball. Yeah. And then when you saw it, Switzerland was quick to kind of press us, and before you knew it, we was losing the ball. But other than that, when you look at like the Embolo, he called it us Stones and Konsa, Muriel. I think they knew that Konsa was the weakness.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it, and they played that quite primarily down that side just to kind of put him under. Stones, we know there's an error there to be made, and we saw that for the first goal. But then at the same point, we also had opportunities to break them as well on the counter, which we did. But unfortunately, with the new formation, and like as Anthony just alluded to, when you look at the likes of Foden, Kane, and not being funny, even Bellingham, we was just making too many errors, and we was losing the ball too quickly in my eyes. And that's where Switzerland had the upper hand all the way through. I mean, like I said, we started off well for the first 20, 25 minutes, but then it was Switzerland all the way till the end of the first half.
Yeah, I think those are good points. And I think it's probably time to discuss like England's midfield, because one thing that I'm very big on is a channel run from a midfielder. So running in between the centre back and the full back. And the only time I saw a midfielder do it in the match was Declan Rice for Saka's goal. Like, in order to have that space to come inside, I felt it was generated by Declan Rice. And I get very annoyed with Jude Bellingham because he's obviously an outstanding player. It looks like he can do everything, but I don't think that he's carrying enough water for the team. And I think the same with Foden, that they're not making selfless runs to help their boys out. So, Anthony, you've talked about how you don't see Foden and Kane dovetailing together. Like, what is the problem with that midfield, and how can Southgate address it?
It's the balance for me. I mean, obviously, we played. You got to think at the start of this campaign, we were playing 4-2-3-1. Gareth Southgate, since he was the manager of England, he's never played a 4-2-3-1 since the Euros. And then obviously he decided to change the formation in today's game. It sort of paid off a little bit with the attacking play. I just feel the way how he was, I feel like he's got to go back to a 4-3-3, to be honest with you, half time. If it was me, I would play. I've always said Ollie Watkins, but I mean, let's give Ivan Toney another go up front, Saka on the right, and I think Anthony Gordon on the left. You know, I feel that you've got to have that even balance there. If you haven't got
width there,
yeah, you're calling for width, but you need the balance within the width as well, because we haven't got that balance. It's too many. The box is too crowded, and then when people are going for the ball all the time, you've seen it with Bellingham. When he had that shot when the keeper saved it, when he hit the ball, hit the defender, and then he had the upper chance. I mean, you've seen Foden, he was there, and literally Foden had to quickly move out the way for Bellingham's shot to go towards goal. But this is what I mean, it's too crammed in there. You know, it's nothing going on. It is a waste of time, it being in the 18-yard box if you haven't got nothing on the end of it. And this is what I've been saying to Tony, and also since the start of the actually on this show as well, bath time. So you know, it's a waste of time. You've got to have a balance. You've got to have flair, but most of all, you've got to have consistency as well within that team. And at the minute, I'm not seeing it. I mean, I like fluent attacking football, basic foot, good passing, good communication skills, and going forward, letting the defense stay back and let them do their job and defend well. Hence, this is what I'm going to be bringing up. If the Netherlands win today, this is what we got to do against them or Turkey. So this is what I like: a normal flat back four. My midfield would actually be Declan Rice, who else? Mainoo, and also you could actually play Palmer there, because for Chelsea, Palmer actually plays out on the wide left, and also he plays throughout the middle as well. Yeah, Palmer doesn't really play out on the right for Chelsea. It's either the left or in the middle. So this is where I think this would be good for us. So as long as we got that right there in the midfield and the attack, I could see a different style of play, which I feel personally it'd be better against the next team who we got in semi-finals. It's just more fluent. That's what we need. We need more attacking, more balls being delivered into the box, and obviously people getting on the end of things.
You're asking Declan Rice to do a lot in that midfield, like on defensive stuff.
But in all fairness, he's good, Declan Rice. He's that box-to-box player that we need. Mainoo's good at sitting back, and also Palmer as well. So if Palmer goes up, it gives Palmer and Declan Rice a bit of leeway. You know, they're not being knackered out for the game. So if one goes up, two can stay behind, two can stay back, and vice versa. Do you know what I mean? Even Mainoo has had good chances at when he's been in the midfield. He's been playing well, defending the ball and also attacking. He's had a few shots on goal mine when he was playing in the last game. So do you know what I'm saying? So there's so many options that we've got in there for this midfield and the attacking. We've just got to find the right balance. Once we find it, we then may go on to the final, maybe win this competition.
All right. Well, I'll come to you in a second, Early Doors. I just want to go through the comments so that these guys don't feel neglected. Andrew is saying that Stones created the danger by going deep and playing the wider player onside, and then didn't clear when he had the chance.
Yeah.
Now, Lawrence is telling me it's not what Bowen is doing wrong. It's Southgate never wanting to change things up. Subs too late and sticks with players too long, also known as Kane.
True. Yeah.
It's a common thing about these substitutions. And we have Ryan Tune, who's tuned in. So hello for you. Tony needed on much earlier.
Yep.
I do think the way Kane was being played as a sort of a target man, like trying to win headers, that like you'd get more from Tony doing that. Once again, another sub about another comment about England not taking the handbrake off, not getting attacking players on and playing with a bit of courage. Like Gunnar is saying, no Ollie Watkins is an absolute is a crime. Andrew would like to see Jude in the false nine. Kane is too slow right now, so it looks like people are calling for Harry Kane to be dropped early doors. What are you thinking about the midfield balance and the attacking players on the pitch?
I think there is a couple of changes that need to happen in this game, or for the next games, because there isn't a balance, as Anthony said. Not being funny, when you're playing Trippier there, why, when we've got a wealth of talent sitting on the bench watching that dross, why we're not playing them from the off? You're not being funny. You could either put Gordon there, you could put Palmer there in that area, and then not being funny, I would take Bellingham and Foden out, and I would either put on there. Again, you could either have Gordon, Palmer, and out on the right for Foden. There, I'd have Bowen for sure, and then up top, I'll go with Watkins.
Really? Like, why would you go for Ollie Watkins?
He is different to Tony. Tony's more of a kind of holding up player. Watkins is more of an attacking. He's actually kind of looking for a ball to be fed through type of player, and we've got the talent to do that.
In my opinion, Watkins is an outlet player who sort of primarily plays in a sort of inside left position, and he'll get you out of situations. We've seen that he's scored a lot of goals today, but I also think that one thing that is quite important that we forget a lot of the time is that you do need experience, like on the big stage, and a lot of these Palace players, for example, like Eze, Gay, Wharton, like they've only really played Premier League football. And I sometimes think that the Champions League and being experienced at the deep end of an international tournament might sway Southgate's opinion quite a lot. He knows, for example, with Maguire or Shaw or someone like that, he knows what he's getting from them in the really nervy, needly games. Whereas an Ollie Watkins, he might not like what he sees, or he might not trust the character. But for me personally, I also drop Foden and Bellingham. I think that they've had their chances to do something. They haven't. Bellingham's attitude annoys me quite a lot. He seems to have changed since going to Real Madrid. Yeah. Do you agree with me? Everyone says I've got an agenda against him.
No. Because if you look at it today in that, he's, in certain respects, arrogance on the pitch. Like as Anthony said, when they mucked up with that board and he thought it was him, it was, what? I'm Jude Bellingham. You can't drop me. I'm Jude Bellingham. And then you watched him when he scored the penalty. When you've got players like that, to me, it just kind of stinks a little bit. You've got to realise you're privileged to be earning all this money, playing for clubs like Real Madrid and Dortmund and things like this. And then you're coming out with attitudes like that. I don't mind players celebrating, but then when you've got that kind of chip on your shoulder at the same time, you've got to remember that, the working man has to work hard to watch go to football games to watch these players. But when you see him kind of doing that, that just stinks to me. I mean, just before we move on to the other thing, I just want to allude to what I already spoke to you before about. And this is the worrying thing. The reason why we need these changes, and what Anthony's mentioned, what I've mentioned, the fact of this whole competition, until Saka took that shot, we've only had 13 attempts on target in the whole of that tournament so far. That just shows you how much we're lacking as an attacking team. But really, we're actually kind of blossomed with attackers. But 13 shots in total, not good for an England side, really.
Do you think it's the case of, like, for example, my issue with Bellingham is that football is a team game for working class people, and he's acting like a sort of an American athlete and making it all about himself when it's like your teammates give you that platform. Like, you want to win a game in extra time because you win it as a team. You don't want individuals to lose it on penalties, like Akanji with this terrible one this evening.
Oh, dear me.
Awful penalty. I mean, I think the only one I've seen worse early doors was when Mark Noble got subbed on to take a penalty against Manchester United, and Hayham saved it somehow.
No. Who's the guy that played that was on loan for Fulham? What was his name there? Who literally tapped the ball and it went straight into Fabianski's arms. Oh, what was the guy's name?
I don't know. Someone in the comments will tell us.
Yeah.
But with this sort of like, so England have got a lot of attackers that could quite rightly be called world class. Why are they not performing as a world class unit together? Is it the midfield? Is it the defense? Is it the attack? Why aren't they gelling and knitting?
If we want to be brutally honest, because we're not world class.
The players are overrated.
100%.
Foden, treble winner, like Kane, 50 goals, like Bellingham.
It comes down to what Anthony said. On paper, we should literally be whipping up trees.
Was it Lookman, by the way?
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one. Well done, Marco. But when you look at it, it's the fact of when you put on the England shirt, in the old days, it actually meant something. You was proud to actually play for your club and country, for your country. But this day and age, it's more about playing for your club than it is your country. And I think that's the difference with us here in the Premier League in England compared to when you look at some of the other countries who actually play with their heart on their sleeves. You don't see it from England boys, and that is kind of disgraceful in certain respects. But that's my opinion on that.
So they're not working as an attacking unit because
we can see it in this competition. This competition just sums it up. We're not playing as a unit.
But that's because, they're too focused on their clubs or themselves, or not being part of a team.
All three in certain respects. When you look at it, you've seen it. Not every time you watch a game, especially when you look at the Community Shield, or if a home team's at home and you see the players come off that coach, they've got their little wash bags under their arms. Well, Anthony knows we've already talked about this one. Arsenal players did it. They come off the coach and that completely ignored a 12-year-old girl who was looking out for these players to get a signature, and they just breezed past that. This is the attitude they've got these days, and unfortunately, we're seeing it at a national level as well.
Yeah, they're ignoring everyone else on the pitch as well as young girls. Anthony, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think it's a disconnect between the players and the idea of a team, or is it the manager? Why can't England get it together?
I think it's this connection of a team, and is poorly managed, in my opinion. I mean, how many games have we played now? We've played, this is our 5th game in the Euro, and not once do I see. And this is what my own opinion of it is bad time. I don't see Southgate edging his team on, standing on the touchline, shouting out instructions. Get back, get forward. This basic stuff. He's just stood there. The only thing he did today was helped Harry Kane up when he went crashing into the field. That was the only thing he did, and then he was sub straight after that. So that was most probably a good thing. 50% a good thing. But I mean, I just don't feel like it's like what I go on about at that time. The passion. You could tell to a certain extent a little bit of the passion is still there, but it's not a lot. It's just the fluent football. The chemistry is not right in that team. It's literally the chemistry and the manager. If we can change the manager, we can see a different chemistry within this England team. Like what I said, and Tony's just mentioned it as well. On paper, we can win this, but it's a different story when you go out onto that pitch. And when we see all these games, these England games, I think we've been lucky. But guess what? We've actually had poor teams playing against rubbish teams that ain't that great, and we have been playing great as well. I think we're still lucky to be in this competition. in my opinion.
100%. Yep.
Well, you just won on penalties, so of course you are. But we'll just do some comments before I get back to that. Now, Lawrence is saying he blames the coaching and the chemistry, which I think he's saying he blames the manager there, really, isn't it? That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Pepsi Pack, absolute worst time to go to the local chippy, rammed with England fans. They're absolutely ravenous, aren't they, for chips? England has a lot of me players, not team players. I think we're going to come to this. Hydro, with his way with words, has said dickheads, is what you're trying to say.
Absolutely.
Now, I have a very unpopular opinion on lots of things relating to football. And Mr. B will go mental if he's watching this at home. But I would be starting Conor Gallagher for England. I think that when I look at the England team, I don't think that there's enough water carriers. I don't think there's enough people that are going to make unselfish runs off the ball and give platforms to players like Saka and Palmer and Bellingham. And like when you look at Saka today, like even though he was excellent, I think the only cross that he sort of completed was to Kobe Mainu, and the goal he scored was because of the unselfish running of Declan Rice. Now I can see. All right, we'll start with you first, Anthony, because you've had the most visceral reaction to the name of Conor Gallagher. Do you not think that maybe a couple more workhorses in the team is what's needed for the balance?
Yeah, most probably. Yeah, I'm not too sure if Gallagher's the one. To be honest with you, I mean, don't get me wrong. He wasn't a bad player last season, obviously for Chelsea, but obviously when you come out of that Chelsea team and stepping into the England team, it's totally different. And I've got to be honest with you, the last game that I seen him in was when I thought he was poor, in my opinion.
Oh, okay.
I mean, seriously, I do. I think with Gallagher, when we were playing that 4-2-3-1 formation, with the players he had around him, it didn't suit Gallagher. It didn't suit him at all. So personally, I feel like Gallagher can come on. I mean, not necessarily start, but he can actually come off the bench. Give him even if it's a second half. Give him an half. But I feel if he does come on, the formation that will most probably suit him more would be a 4-3-3. It can't be a 4-2-3-1 or this formation. I don't feel that he's up for it. To be honest with you, I can't also. I can't. No, not Gallagher. No, sorry, Backtie. Sorry.
All right. Do you want to answer Hydro's question? He's never heard a man speak like this before.
Where are you from, Anthony? Your accent is also. I'm from Bristol.
And Bath Tom, if you look at Wurzel Herbert's next comment underneath the dickheads one, and that, then no, that's also aimed at Anthony as well.
Yeah, sorry. Hurry up, cuz the sheep have got over the fence again.
Bath time. Going
Yes,
back on to the Gallagher thing, you did get one thing right about him, and that.
Oh, cheers.
Yeah, the water boy. He'll be ideal for that. Absolutely ideal for the water boy. But that's about it, really, because he's not England material. No way in his shape, form whatsoever. How this man has managed to get into this England team, I do not know. He creates nothing. He creates nothing in my eyes. I'm sorry to say.
All right, but how are we changing let's say, I think it's quite likely that England will play the Netherlands in the semi-final simply due to the suspensions that Turkey have. How are you changing it early doors? Like, what are you doing to get yourselves to the final?
I think you already said it, basically. It's the case of you've got Shaw now back. He didn't look too bad when he came on. He seemed fairly fit. So, Konsa, out you go. In comes Shaw. And then, like I said, the changes beforehand. Get rid of Trippier and either put Gordon there. That way, then you can have Palmer and Bowen. Still got Saka out on the right. And then Nielsen, like I said, Watkins. But if you go with Tony, it seems to be alluding more to him, then that's more of an attacking force.
So it's still a 3-5-2, though.
I'd still go with that because I think, with that, at least you've got people that can actually run forwards as well as come back. Saka did it today. There's no difference with Gordon and even Palmer filling in that void on the left-hand side as well. Plus the fact you've got Shaw there as well. So it actually shores up that pardon the pun, that left-hand side more solidly than what it has been today.
And does Gay come straight back in for Konsa?
No, I'll go with Shaw. I think, don't get me wrong, Gay is good. If he has got a knock, which they was kind of alluded to today.
Well, he's suspended today.
Well, no, this is the thing. I thought he was, I knew he was suspended, but for some reason the panelists were all saying, no, he's injured. He's injured. Right. At least we've got the choice. We've got a choice of two then.
So, like, you would swap Konsa for Shaw then, and have Shaw as a left-sided centre back.
You've already said it. We need more. We need experience. Okay. And we need experienced players to kind of see us through. If we're going to, carry on in this competition, we need that experience, a balance, as Anthony said, between new and old. That'll get us through it.
All right. Do you agree, Anthony?
Yeah. Well, for the defence, I personally, I'd rather play a flat back four. I'd rather play Shaw. Shaw's not injured now. He's fully fit. Play him in at left back. Obviously Stones and the Palace defender get, its centre. Kai Walker is right back. Pickford in goal. Personally, I would go for 4-3-3, or if not, it'll have to be, maybe a 3-5-2. But if it's the Netherlands, it's like what you said, Bath-time. We've got to be fluent. We've got to be fluent within that midfield and that attack. The chances have got to be there. There's got to be more balls being delivered in that box if you want to beat them. Because we've seen this with Netherlands. They've won one of their games 3-0. They've been playing good attacking football, and if anything, it's been one of the best attacking football I've seen in this Euro. France, they haven't been that great. I mean, you look at it, how many goals have they scored in this competition now? Is it 4 or 5 goals? But in all fairness,
I think they have one goal that they've scored themselves, and the rest are own goals.
Okay, one goal. So the rest of 2 of them has been in goals, hasn't it? So it's like what I said. They haven't been in fine form. So if France was a team to reach the final, personally, I don't think they'll win it. I don't think they'll win it because the way. Well, we've just said it, Bath-time. They've scored 1 goal, and the other 2 goals have been own goals. They haven't.
Spain then.
Yeah.
Like, how do you think you'll get on against the Spanish?
Personally, if go on into the final, if we went into the final, I feel that we'll lose to Spain. We would lose to Spain seriously. I think you're talking maybe like a 3-1 to Spain. We might score the odd goal, but the way how the Spanish have been playing, you've seen it against Germany as well. I really thought Germany most probably would have got to the final because seriously, you can't really underestimate the Germans. But the Spanish, they turn up, they give it to them, and rightly so. It is definitely going to beat Spain in the final, and if we can get there, I'm sorry, but we'll lose to Spain. It won't even go to penalties.
Well, I quite like Aguna Matata has already realised that I'm a clown. So thank you for that.
But no, he's not. He's basically saying, "Are you self-clowning? Is it in Southgate in or out?" And the same with Arteta.
I mean, like, look, I don't support Arsenal, so I'm Arteta out, and I'm not particularly interested by England. But just for our last thing, what I would like to say about Southgate, from someone who looks on the outside, is I think that the way he prepares the team, certainly for penalties, has really changed like how I see England. Like I had no issues with England going to penalties. I thought they'd win it. When you look at players like Cole Palmer, like he just seems to only score penalties. Is there anything positive that you can sort of say about how Southgate has maybe changed the mentality of the England team when we consider how often England used to go out on pens?
I mean, it depends. I always say when you go to a penalty shootout, it's 50-50 between you and the other team. But I mean, with us against Switzerland, they haven't got brilliant penalty takers. They're just average. So when you actually look at the team what we had, and we know that Saka could take penalties. Obviously Ivan Toney did with Brentford, Palmer with Chelsea. the list is pretty much endless. This is why we got such a good attacking. I suppose there was a time through the game when it was actually going into just before the penalty shootout and Harry Kane gets subbed off. You're thinking, oh shit, we got to go into penalties. Like Kane scores penalties, but that did go through my mind. I'm not going to lie, but I'm glad it was the sub was for Ivan Toney, and then I think we got decent penalty takers at the end of the day. That's all we can hope for. Is if we get to the final, is literally defend, and then that's it, and then play Spain against penalties, and hopefully we can win it on penalties maybe.
The Spain are terrible with penalties, the Spanish. But I do agree, England really did feel like they were holding on in extra time towards the end. Well, Early Doors will give you the last word on what you've seen this evening and Southgate and so on.
I think if you look at it, that's probably the best thing he's done was the penalty decisions. He actually got that spot on. As the rest of the tactics for this competition, they've just been pants. We are literally riding on that lucky carpet at the moment. But at some point, it's going to be pulled under our feet. And Spain, for me, I've said, and Anthony knows this. For me, Spain, I think they're going to go all the way and win this competition.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Shout out all my homies in Oviedo. All right. Well, I think we're going to end it there. So thank you very much to everyone who's joined us. I hope that you've had your comments read out and that was a fun time. That is the loudest keyboard I've ever heard. Are you like pressing the buttons with a hammer or something?
Well, it is because I'm actually balanced on another thing. So the actual whole PC rocks on this thing. They said this before. It is quiet as anything. I've got it rocking on something, and I've got to kind of work out why it's doing it. The platform seems flat, but it's not.
Yeah, Mr. B pulled it up last time. He blamed Fuzzy on the last show. He said, "Fuzzy, you banging some bloody drums or what?"
All right, lads. Well, where can we find you?
So you can find me, as you can see on the handle on the screen there, Early Doors Football TV. Sunday night is the usual show, 8 o'clock, the Sunday night takeaway show. And then again on Wednesdays, I've got my esteemed colleague underneath me and Hot Fuzz with The Good, The Bad and The Ugly. We've actually got a week off, possibly 2, and then we're coming back in for season 2 with that, which we're looking forward to.
Excellent. And Anthony, if anyone is mad enough to try and find you, where would they find you?
Well, they can find me anywhere. Bad time. I've actually been told I'm a YouTube whore. So it's actually Mr. B's words, that is, mind you. So I'm here, there, and everywhere. But yeah, you can find me on Wednesday nights at 8:30 on The Good, The Bad, and The Ugly, which is on Early Doors' football TV show, and obviously on his Sunday night takeaway. With England going through into the next round, you can also find me on here on the Man United agenda, talking after the England game and giving my opinions. Obviously, they're not that great at the minute. I just want a good opinion of England. Just one. That'd be enough for me. Just one. So hopefully it'll be in the next game. And thank you for having me on, Bad Time. And I really enjoyed this show.
Thank you. Well, I mean, Pepsi Pack is saying that you can be found outside the Bristol Rovers ground.
Any street corner.
Any street corner. It's official. Anthony belongs to the streets, not to anyone in particular. Well, with that, I'm going to say good night and thank everyone for joining and the DILFs that I've got with me. So it's good night from all of us at the Manchester United Agenda and at Early Doors TV.